Greetings. I'm Dr. Noni Davis, and today I'm coming to you from Sya Academy. And give thanks, we are on our intercession break, and so I have some rest time. I'm in chapter 5 of Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos and Community. And in this chapter, I wanted to just based on where we are this at this moment in history, um, I thought, let's see, how do we apply Dr. King's continue rather to apply Dr. King's uh, prophetic book. He and many other, African American scholars and France Fanon, people from the Caribbean, people from the continent. We're just in a mess. But since the inauguration of one of the most incompetent, undereducated, ignorant presidential administrations, since we've been under this regime in 2025. African Americans have been under major attack, right? We have had this constant attack on our civil rights, attempt to dismantle it. And of course, a lot of these attempts have been uh, futile and overturned by the administration. DEI was just overturned. His attack on DEI was finally overturned. But the system has been bombarded with lawless, unhinged attacks by a mob of fools who are ahistorical, living in fairy tales. I mean, I'm like, are these people, do they think they're in the Marvel universe or something? Like, we're the good guys combating evil. Like, what are you doing? And it's a fairy tale of whiteness, that we can save the world and we know what's best for everybody while simultaneously being the stupidest people on the planet. Anyway, these false narratives of heroism and democratic values, superiority and religious purity and intelligence are literally destroying our country. So I found this Gambian proverb, and it says, a wise man never knows all. A wise man never knows all, like everything. Only a fool knows everything. And so we have an administration full of people who are just out here doing things with no knowledge and think they know what they're doing. They really think that they have this thing on lockdown. White nationalists have convinced themselves that they are the only ones fit to rule the world, simply because they are white. Diversity, equity, inclusion are antithetical to their cultural framework because it means that everyone has a voice. Everyone has something to offer to make the world a better place. Everyone has their own gifts and talents and perspectives that, when pulled together, can improve society. But white nationalism is foolishness. These are fools that think they know everything. Um, it is grounded in this story I'll never forget. It's called Me, Myself, and I. And it's a little folk tale about the lion thinking that he was the best and he could do this and he couldn't do that and he could, conquer everything. And then, so he's led by another little woodland animal to meet all these other animals. And he said, just wait till you meet man. And so, he kept saying, me, myself, and I. Me. That is these people. But at the end, he met man. And then this is an African story. So after man took care of him, he went from old man and young man, baby man, and then he got young man, strong man, and found out he can't do that. So in this situation, Iran is the man. And this lion, this toothless lion that's roaring is America. Um, In America, this extreme narcissism has revealed how inept this administration is and the audaciousness, the imposition not only on the constitutional rights of the citizens of this country, but violating those of foreign nations. We got Venezuela and, Cuba and Haiti, all of these places. And now we got Iran. And so these nations are responding with shock and dismay, ambivalence, as well as anxiety. And many have withdrawn their support from alliances they've had with the United States, with America, and are forging new relationships, alternative pathways to resources, causing a crippling effect on our economy. I mean, we literally put tariffs on everybody, and then we asked them to come and help us. I got this little stray hair up here. Uh, we asked them after we have put tariffs on everybody and just tore up their economy. Then we asked them for help in the Hamas. What is that? That strait. And he's like, "Come and help me, come help me." Everybody's like, "What?" No, we pass. So Dr. King profoundly stated, and where do we go from here? That chaos or community, that white nationalism was going to eventually destroy America. If we didn't deal with this racism, it was going to destroy America. And here we are. He also said that there were three main evils. He said you've got the racism. That's the first one. The second one is extreme materialism. And then the third one is militarism. And all of these are now actively integrated with each other. And we're all seeing it firsthand. You got white racism, thinking that you were supposed to run the world. You have this extreme materialism where people are trying to see how much money they're going to make off this war. And then you've got the militarism, which is I can conquer and do whatever I want to anybody without any kind of accountability or responsibility. So unconquerable, but truly they are destructive. So Dr. King was like, this demon would be unconquerable. The combination of these things, these three things, they seem unconquerable. And I'm gonna say think that's maybe what he was trying to say. Because they are this stuff is falling apart. But he also said that these things, what has history shown us about it? So that's what I want to focus on. So historically, we've had genocide. This stuff never works. We've had genocide. White nationalism tried to eliminate indigenous people, right, from the South America all through the Caribbean, all the way to North America. Well, right here in the United States, they said that indigenous people only make 2.1 to 2.9%, right? But when you add a Hispanic, and all of us know that these Hispanic people are indigenous people mixed with Hispanic people mixed with African people. So if you look at the Hispanics are like 34.4%. No, has grown 344.7% between 2010 and 2020. But these are indigenous people. And so they are about 20%. So if you add that 2.9% plus that 20%, okay, so we're almost up to 23%, right? And then 15%, they tried to kill African Americans, enslaved us, brought us over here, didn't feed us, didn't clothe us, let us die, worked us to death, and we are free. We should not be free, but we are free. And we are making up 15.2%. So if you add those up, now you got 38%, something like that, 38, almost 40%. But what's crazy is that Black and brown, Asian, African, Hispanic, indigenous people together, our children, all of our children who are under the age of 5 are now 50% of the American population, over 50% of the American population, which is why these people are tripping, because they're like, we have no more babies. That's what you Anyway, um, and so we are a majority, and we are also brown and black and are the global majority in the world. We are the global majority. And so their numbers are falling and our numbers are rising. Okay. So so white nationalism and the triple evils are causing a major collapse internally in this country and externally, all because of major stupidity. That's the only best way I can do it. So, and now King offered solutions. So, chapter 5 is more like, what do we need to do? Where do we, what are we doing? I think what is exactly the name of the chapter? Chapter 5 is where are we going? Where are we going? And so, from his perspective in 1968, it was at first that white folks just gonna have to deal with this racism. And we're beginning to see that, right? We're seeing them like, a lot of them are beginning to see uh, maybe I was just stupid and didn't understand. And, with George Floyd, people were beginning to read books. And of course, we've always had this ebb and flow back and ebb and flow back. But this time, because African Americans are like, you're going to handle it because we're going to sit down. Now they're having to look at this stuff themselves. And nobody's trying to convince you of it. You're going to have to look at it for yourself. And so, and I can tell something is shifting because the last time I went to last year, March 2025, when we went down to Carolina Beach, we saw Trump signs up and down the highway going down to Carolina Beach. This time you ain't see no Trump signs on highway, but you did see a few American flags, but maybe, baby, 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 there were no Trump flags. And so I'm like, okay. So people are like, we can't be in line with this fool. Not outwardly anyway. So they're going back into their hiding space, the few. We ain't trying to get everybody. We don't need everybody, but just enough people to wake up. So Dr. King has stated racism must be addressed in community building for economic power must evolve for everyone who lives in this country, all of us. And he even promoted the idea of guaranteed income, and we heard that come up when Biden was running from this Asian guy who was also running for office, and we need to abolish poverty. And so I think that that's also something that's now people are talking about universal health care, universal daycare, free college education, free, well, we said free health care. And so people are beginning, we have to housing subsidies. We got to have food for everybody. So this is beginning to develop, and this is what King said we needed to do. And also you see politics. He also said politics, and so that was number 2. So number 1 was racism needs to be rid of, and we need to create equitable environments for everybody, and we need to eliminate poverty. Then he said politics. He said too many African Americans are engaging in this false narrative that both parties are the same. And politics don't work, and they just have this fallible viewpoint on voting. They believe it doesn't work and has no impact, but we definitely have learned that it does matter. If you weren't sure before, now we know that it does matter who you vote for, and it matters from the bottom, from the local to the state to the federal. Who you vote, we're seeing the effects of not voting for the right people, and we need to see voting as a tool, as a safety tool, not. We're not going to ever get everything we want. I mean, that, unless we all are out there running and we decide that we're going to cheat too and get, we're only 13, 14%. Well, look, 15% of the population. So we need to make these alignments with other people. And that's the other thing that Dr. King said. But he says, not only that, and I think this is something else that is happening. He said, we have to pick the right leaders. We have to pick, our Black leaders need to have our needs at the center of their what is it, their not election, but their voting. I mean, their when they're soliciting our votes, they need to have our values and our principles. And I just send a message. I mean, I know Hakeem Jeffries is not going to see it, but I'm like, Hakeem Jeffries, can you wake up? Anyway, are you listening? Anyway, we got to get out of APAC. We cannot be funding our races, our political races, with money from folks who are killing people. And so anyway, then he said boycotting, and then, we know that when he was on the planet, he was one of the people who were a major voice in the Montgomery boycott, right? And so he's like, that's one way we have to apply our pressure. And I think, okay, so where did I put? Oh, here's the book right here. What am I looking for? This was on page 148. I want to read what he said on page 148 because I thought, all right, Dr. King, I see you. He says that as employees and consumers, Negro numbers and their strategic disposition endow them with a certain bargaining strength. And so he said this in 1968, but we just saw that with Target. They said Target has had 13 consecutive quarters of declining sales and has not been able to regain shoppers, according to Forbes magazine. So I read that yesterday. Because of their two-pronged assault, they attacked African Americans, businesses, and then they turn around and mess with the LGBTQ plus community. And so that consumer base, they have lost it. But I also wanted to read what he said on page 155 about politics. And this was the Negro vote presently is only a partialized realized strength. It can still be doubled in the South. In the North, even where Negroes are registered in equal proportion to whites, they do not vote in the same proportions. Assailed by a sense of futility, Negroes resist participating in empty ritual. However, when the Negro citizen learns that united and organized pressure can achieve measurable results, he will make his influence felt. Out of this consciousness, the political power of the aroused minority will be enhanced and consolidated. And then on page 158, let's see how my time is going. And so we shall have to do more than register and more than vote. We shall have to create leaders who embody virtues we can respect, who have moral and ethical principles we can applaud, with an enthusiasm that enables us to rally support for them based on confidence and trust. We will have to demand high standards and give consistent, loyal support to those who merit it. We will have to be a reliable constituency for those who prove themselves to be committed political warriors in our behalf. When our movement has partisan political personalities whose unity with their people is unshakable and whose independence is genuine, they will be treated in white political councils with the respect those who embody such power deserve. So we got to get ourselves together and stop thinking that somebody else is going to do it. Pretty much, we're going to have to hold our people accountable. We're going to have to not play financial politics. We're not going to serve somebody just because they got money. And if they take money from the wrong people, we're going to say, no, we ain't vote for you. And so people like Hakeem Jeffries and some of these Cory Booker, all these people are in trouble because they've been playing games. And, and we taking prisoners this time. And so we also see that all Americans are tired of the extreme rich. And so billionaires must be taxed 50% of their income. And I believe that families earning less than, I believe, if you make less than $100,000, you shouldn't be paying no taxes per year at all. It should just be the billionaires for the most part, and everybody who's making over that income. And then it needs to start real small with even the people who have make $100,000. It needs to be a small percentage. There's also a proposition I read that's going before the UN for a global framework on international tax cooperation to reform how corporations and wealthy individuals are taxed across borders. So now you can't just leave like France and go to Switzerland or Netherlands or someplace like that. If you're rich, it's not going to matter where you go in the world. You're going to have to pay your part. You got to pay your dues. I'm like, yes. So people are coming along. It's just a matter of time. A global minimum corporate taxes on high net worth individuals, and environmental levies on polluters. So if you are own a company and your company is tearing up the earth, baby, 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 you gonna have to pay some taxes. So the world is tired, and we're moving towards um, this mentality. We're gonna stop these depraved folks who are just all they're doing is destroying the earth, and imposing their limited intelligence, because these people are not smart either. They're just greedy on us, they deprive us of our own creativity, our intellectual thought, our spiritual freedom and community, and they want robots to do everything. Don't nobody want robots. Robots don't have nuance. They don't know nuance. The brain, even the animal brain, has nuance. Not no daggone robot. So, but that's what they want to do. So now, number 4, militarism. This is the final concern of Dr. King during his lifetime. It was focused on opposition to American wars in Vietnam and Cambodia, while today we are engaged in a war with Iran. Because of a lack of intelligence and DEI in the room, we are operating in a framework in this administration, our War Department, which has proclaimed that it will not follow international agreed upon laws. So, I mean, I can't even imagine what would happen if I had in my school no rules of engagement. Anybody can hit anybody. We would be having a free for all in here. You have to have rules. You cannot say that one person has to follow rules and the other ones. So this is the foolishness, because what did you think was going to happen if you take the rules? Iran ain't got no rules either. Saudi Arabia ain't got no rules either. UAE ain't got no rules either. Then what happened to the rules? And the British, and they're like, we're not coming to help you. And he's like, what do you mean you can't come and help me? All you do is just help me. And they're like, no, we got to talk to our people before we do it. You ain't got to talk to nobody. Just do like I do. It's because he doesn't follow rules. So once again, a wise man, according to the Gambians, never knows all. They know smart people know they don't know everything. But a fool knows everything. They think they know everything. And so, white supreme stupidity obstructs the ability to foresee this, because of a belief that only one group of people is intellectually capable and has the authority to do whatever they want to do. Failure is imminent in this worldview. Like I said before, genocide of indigenous people, you thought you'd wipe them out, they back, and you try to put them in these little categories and separate them out. But if a person who has sense, who has worked with Hispanic people, who have come, you see their face, and then you see the people of an indigenous Native American person's face, these Cherokee, y'all kind of look the same. So maybe this Hispanic group of people, and I know they're white Hispanics, and I know that they're Afro Hispanics, but most of these people, if you say Hispanic and you're Spanish speaking, they're going to lump you together. So guess what? We got about 45% of the population between Africans, and then I didn't mention Asians. Asians are like 1.12% also. So we're like almost 50%, and our children definitely are the majority. Our children, our babies under the age of 5 are definitely the majority of the people on this planet. But you tried that genocide, and then you did the enslavement, and you never thought that we would be right here. So we have won. Africans have won because we are free, fought for ourselves. And Native Americans are still here. Some of their people escaped to get away from white folks. They escaped across the border down into Mexico. Oh wait, Mexico used to be part of the United States. Okay, so they escaped to another part of their country, and now they've come back, and you cannot get rid of them. You can try. You look like you winning for 5 seconds in history, but you're losing. So anyway, attacks on Asians have also failed. But what's crazy about the Asians is that they are the most highest paid population in the United States. And I was like, wow. So the wealthiest people in the United States are Asian. That is so interesting. And so we are, we brown people, black people are the largest population in America, and we are the global majority. The majority of the world looks like us. Only 9% of the world is European. Whiteness has not won anything because it was never real, and it has had its run and has been in decline since the 1800s. Okay, so, and why do I say that? Because I'm also reading this book, Born in Blackness. I think I've shown this book before, reading Born in Blackness. And so, of course, first, so we had the 1470s. Here come the Portuguese. What is Portuguese now? What do we know about Portugal right now? It's a country in Europe, and we do not know that much about them anymore because they have not been this powerhouse for centuries. Then we had Spain and France, and so and the Dutch. They came in the 1500s, right? Now France we still hear about, and we do know about the Spain. Oh no, Spain is not that big of a deal either. So Portugal and Spain, and even the Dutch. They're not the powerhouses they used to be. And in France right now, we see France is getting that by Benin and Burkina Faso, and so and Mali, and so they're in decline. And then you had the British, and the British were like doing their thing from the 1600s, and by the 1700s they had lost the United States, and of course they were still acting up in the Caribbean. But when you think of the Caribbean, you don't think of the British. When you think of the Caribbean, you don't. I mean, when you think of Haiti, you don't think of France. These are all black people running these countries now. And so white nationalists um, are losing their power. Their power is in recession. And they had their little surge. I think they had a little surge. I mean, oh, and they had all these wars. All they do is fight. All they do is fight the whole time from 1470 to the 1860s. These people were fighting. When Civil War was in the 1860s, that was white people fighting white people, and then black people were kicking everybody's behind. That's how we won. And then you have, the civil rights movements. In the 1960s, we had the civil rights movements. We had the LGBTQ rights, women's rights, and all of that propelled our community forward, right? And here they come, trying to destroy it. And now this energy is about to collapse completely because they're not smart people. They're not smart people. And South America, we've got this new organization called BRICS, BRICS. B for Brazil, R for Russia, I for India, C for China, and S for South America. And they've also extended invitations to Egypt, Ethiopia, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. And then they have partners include, Belarus, Bolivia, Cuba, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Nigeria, Thailand, Uganda, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. And they are currently an alternative to NATO. And we all know what NATO does. NATO is this major military or union between these major European countries. They're fledgling. BRICS has created their own money. And they get ready to not use no American dollars to when they initiate trade. And they also are these countries in BRICS are the most populated countries. So you ain't gonna be to mess with them at all. And they also are the ones that own the oil, the gas, and all the natural resources. Europe ain't got nothing. Nobody want anything up there. Don't nobody want nothing in Europe. And so China has found a way, to not use militarism. And I'm not saying China is good. I'm not saying that. But China is building and developing an exchange for resources and is not using heavy handed military power. So we must, the only thing to get these resources, the only thing I can say is that we're going to find a way to stop extracting all these resources from the earth. We got to find a cheaper way, a very small, a way that uses the least amount of uh, resources to create this energy. And I think they said it's nuclear power. It's just a little bit of nuclear power, and you can do a lot of stuff. So anyway, the three evils: racism, materialism, and militarism. All these three things, forces have culminated and reached a peak, and America signaling is in. And on page 174, Dr. King says, the time, okay, if democracy is to have breadth of meaning, it is necessary to adjust this inequity. It is not only moral, but it is also intelligent. We are wasting and degrading human life by clinging to archaic thinking. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Hey, Mark.
Another amazing show. Trying to get everybody situated and everything like that, but another amazing show. So always good to see you. Yeah.
So thank you so much. How was your weekend? Did
It
you
was a good
say
weekend. It was
okay?
relatively quiet. It was a good
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, we went down to the beach. We thought we were gonna get caught in that tornado, and it was windy because we were right on the ocean front, but it turned out to be mild. So I was
Yeah.
giving thanks for that. I was like, Lord have mercy. But yeah, and I saw Tony's note that they were not gonna have class because they had to close them. Was it really windy here? Because I had a lot of debris in
It
my
was
yard.
it was windy, it was fairly windy, but we probably still could have had class because it wasn't the rain that they thought it was going to be and everything like that. But
Yeah, they had predicted.
we wanted to be safe versus sorry.
Yes, yes, yes. And so I appreciate that. We were like, oh no, because I've never been at the beach. And they had a tornado watch down there.
Oh
But
wow.
so and the waves, it was rough, but it wasn't. It dissipated really fast, and so I was like, good.
Yeah.
So they said it was going to last until about 8. I think it lasted until about 6, and
Okay.
everything. So, but it was just nice to be down there. I did some prayer at the water, and
Oh yeah. Just needed that relief.
yeah, just for a few days. We went down on Saturday, and we came back today. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was not, it was a too bad. And then during the week, you don't have that many people there.
Right.
So I like to sometimes go during the week
Yeah,
when,
that's the best time to go.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's cheaper too, but yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so we were at Carolina Beach. But that's why I was saying last time we went down there last year, it was Trump. I mean, you saw Trump signs all on the highway.
Mm.
Every once you got to like in Wilmington. This you ain't seen none of.
Yeah, he's not as popular as he used to be.
No, he isn't. And people may still Ariel's like, I don't know though, because you see these big, huge American flags. I say, yeah, but they, you
They
know,
they kind of on the down low right now.
yeah, that's their way to be undercover. They're
Yeah,
undercover.
yeah,
But I mean,
because
they know they can't just put his name up there. I said because
mm,
they know they ain't gonna get in the business because these boycotts have worked. Yeah, they've
definitely.
been very successful. So,
Mhm.
but
Yep.
anyway, so well, I'm gonna go
All right.
chill out. I
I
have I have
go,
3 week break. Well,
go
next
enjoy your
week.
break, and I'll see you next
Yes.
week.
All righty. Peace.
Peace.
If you're talking, they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
I'm a St. Sya student. Of course I walk into the sound of drums.
I'm a St. Sya student. Of course I know my mom.
I'm a St. Sya student. Of course I can play the drum.
I'm a St. Sya student. Of course I can work with my hands.
I'm a St. Sya student.